Hello and welcome to UC Today. My name is Kristian McCann and today's session is Trends HR Needs to Tackle in 2026. And joining me to tell me all about it is Roberta Terranova, Chief People Officer at Wildix. Roberta, thanks very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me, Kristian.
So let's get a lay of the land. What key trends stand out to you for 2026 in HR?
Well, that's a very interesting question indeed. But if I have to tackle three, I might think on work design and optimization of workflow over workspace design. Wildix being a remote first environment, it's already used, to our primarily remote working. But really, combining that attention that we HR leaders have on the performance of the single individual and shifting into how work flows, and this is very much connected also to the second trend that I'm going to mention, which is the AI, right? The AI adoption. AI as an HR co-pilot, not a replacement, but how can we ensure that we get the right business decision on work design and optimization if we don't start collaborating very closely with managers about how we make that workflow smoother, right? So I believe that HR is now deeply involved in that operational design, if we might say so, and about AI, well, we will need a lot of time, right, to unfold everything. I think what we have seen throughout 2025, everything it was a little bit driven by FOMO, by the fear of missing out. I think for 2026, we have to stay within, having the right balance between continuing to have that experimental mode and natural curiosity that help you keep an eye what is out and how everything is developing, what other companies are doing, right? But at the same time, stick also kind of to your plan because, it's not sustainable be driven by fear of missing out, right? So, and with AI, the risk is really not the risk is in adoption, right? Is adoption without guardrails, without an intention. Something that I would like to add about AI is also like how can HR teams can speak the data language, right? This is a topic that obviously has been discussed over the past years. But if a company does not have, for example, the people analytics function, like how can you have an HR team that is able to translate a problem into what is needed, even using a data analyst, or how would you do it, with your prompt? Like it's exactly the same situation, like how you're gonna make that exercise of translating the problem that you want to solve with your prompt to ChatGPT, or maybe even building your AI agent, right? And last but not least, obviously thinking a lot on our experience and Wildix, right, is like culture becoming measurable and intentional as well, especially in a remote first environment. That engagement, inclusion, communication that we have been, trying to simplify and describe with a narrative, etc. I mean, more and more is data driven, really. So culture is not soft, it's operational, if I may say so. So yeah, those are the three trends that aren't really theoretical here, but that needs to be operationalized, if we might say so.
Okay, that's interesting. So, we heard a lot about AI, we even heard about culture, remote first. How are these trends trickling through to the boardroom? And, once they're in the boardroom, how are they discussing them in terms of, how would they deal with AI? How are they going to build this? What's the thought process going on there?
Right. So if I think about the board, in general, like I feel that it's kind of given for granted that HR has now all the policies and compliance, under control, right? So it's more helping the conversation shift into, okay, let's talk about two things. So talent risk, because talent risk is business risk, right? So it's not only retention, engagement, leadership pipelines or leadership readiness, but also, you know, that focus on performance. But performance in the sense that, okay, so with all this conversation about AI adoption, who is up to speed, who is up to change, who has that curiosity, you know, who is experimenting while also kind of starting to drive, who is with us and who is not, in other words, and how can we scale, reorganize without burning people out, of course, because that's also another point. And number two, maybe the measurement of tech return of investment through people outcomes. Like board are asking, like, are our tools actually enabling productivity? So we are looking at the cost, yes, but what about the, like, how that adoptions, usage, and impact is translated into outcomes?
Excellent. Going back to some of the trends we talked to earlier, we talked about, you know, culture, and we talked about AI implementation. So what issues are these trends causing for workplaces if, you know, they're not properly addressed?
The number one thing that comes up to my mind is cognitive overload. Okay, like too many tools, too many messages, and sometimes even unclear priorities, because obviously that you know, in the adoption of something that is so new and the changes, you know, there might be some unclear priorities there. The blurred boundaries in how to handle all of that in a smartly but also remote environment. And obviously, you know, everything that anxiety, right? That AI sometimes creates, right? That it can be either fear of replacement or fear of surveillance or not, you know, being capable of. So maybe we can say that people in general, employees, like, don't want more technology, but they want better technology that simplifies work. So now there's a lot of, you know, premises and narratives around AI is not replacing, but is making our work smarter. Okay, let's see that, or how can we contribute actively? So yeah, from an HR insights, maybe the misalignment between the tool, the processes, and the culture. And one more thing I will say is, like, managers, yes, an issue for the workforce is when managers are unprepared. Either to lead distributor teams, but also, you know, driving this change with AI adoption.
Okay, so you talked about these challenges, what and how they are being felt. If HR was sitting in their office today and they were saying, I see these challenges that you've mentioned, how can I go about addressing them? What advice would you give?
Okay, a few fundamentals that I will think about. Number one, design communication intentionally. You know, I'm talking a lot about communication because on a hand it's really important, but also us being, you know, having our own even UC platforms, you know, they matter because if they work, they reduce friction, right? And AI is also about reducing friction. So maybe fewer channels of communication, clearer norms, how to combine, you know, all the different spaces. And with spaces, I'm referring, yes, to our UC platforms and internal tools, but also how to make it more efficient with the different HR softwares, right? Or, you know, how to choose the right vendors. Number two, I might think about upskill managers first. We just mentioned, you know, that when managers are often unprepared, you know, to lead those teams and the change. I will upskill managers. Like, you really need them ready, especially around the remote leadership and AI literacy. And also managers set the tone for the adoption and trust. So they are the, you know, they keep that motivation to people through this change. And number three, I mean, co-create with employees, right? Pilot tools with real teams, listen, iterate, adjust. So yes, I mean, at Wildix, our remote first environment or model forced us to be very intentional, deliberate about how we communicate. And so that's why, this focus on UC solutions with AI embedded, and how we can be, customer number one. So that really helps us to test, what actually works and can be scalable.
Talking about scalable, 2026 stands to be quite the year for HR. Got all the studies, Gartner's saying there's going to be a lot of incoming change. I was wondering, how can HR leaders position themselves not only for the challenges that we've just talked about that we're facing now, but also keep themselves agile so that when things are changing, they're able to adapt their processes quick enough to implement and work with that?
Right. Well, maybe 2026 will be a little bit less about adopting new tools and more about integrating them. I think HR should continue to build like clear AI principles, transparency, augmentation, privacy, audit also what is being done and what we are currently doing, audit tech stack for overlap, for underused, and possibly, as we were saying before, shifting from HR systems to employee experience ecosystem, like a platforms that combine communication, AI, workflow, workflow will flow, or workflow works.
Okay, and lastly, how should HR teams collaborate with tech vendors to address these threats that we're seeing?
So maybe HR just needs to stop being a downstream buyer, and when we say we want to be a strategic partner, so being a strategic partner means either be involved earlier in tech decisions, or even start the conversation first. When I say before about how can you translate that business issue that you want to solve into something that then can be reviewed and possibly understand what kind of solution, understand the metrics, the outcomes that you want to get, the kind of change support that you want to see, and also choose vendors that understand how people actually work. Like the best vendor relationship feel like partnership, and at Wildix we know that very well because we're also channel first. Right, so we know what working with partner means. So at Wildix, that remote first environment that we have ourselves brings me to what I look for partnership is someone that design with HR realities in mind, and not just IT requirements.
Excellent. Well, thank you for taking the time to speak with us today, Roberta. It's been great.
Thank you very much. It's been great. Likewise.
And thank you to the audience for watching. If you've enjoyed this, don't forget to like and comment and subscribe to stay in tune with more great videos like this. I'm Kristian, and until next time, we'll see you then.